Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and we're going to be rolling past chapter number 2 and into chapter number 3. So let's go ahead for the very first thing we're going to do at the beginning of this round, which is to resolve the story. So again, we're going to check our chapter 2 card to make sure that we have actually satisfied the objective, which is discover 3 creature tiles, including those already revealed in the Ageless Realms. They have to be green and defeat all visible creatures. And as you can see, we've done just that. All of these, the Cripplewood Canyon, Vestin's Curse, and the Cave of Tolok are all 3 creature tiles. So we have successfully done that. Now we're going to go ahead and resolve rewards, which I'm really excited to do, because it's going to give us 1 hope, which is going to bring our hope back from 1 to 2, giving us another day effectively of basically progressing in the game. So I'm going to take this now. We'll just put this aside and out of play. And we're going to move into chapter number 3. So let's find out what we are doing in chapter number 3. Chapter 3, Disrupt and Destroy. You bring your gruesome findings back to the City Council Chamber. An Orcish shield, a torn war banner, and a bloodied cleaver. That is the symbol of the troll who took our home, spits one of the Vadora counselors. I will never forget it. She kicks at the torn banner of the grotesque tusk face. And this, I know, but it cannot be. There is a sound like grinding millstones from Calamus' chest as the golem inspects the ruined shield with the sigil of a black hand. The hand of Vesh stands for Vesh Darkhand. Vesh was a human sorcerer once. We defeated him many moons ago and drove him down into the bottomless Kluwash depths. But he has become something else and fallen, forgive me. I think that it may be my essence that helped him rise again. Calamus still feels that old wound where the sorcerer experimented and shattered his mineral body. Vesh Darkhand must be behind the war. We must find the staging post for his warbands. Here's some new setup instructions we're going to have to follow. The first thing is instantly move all heroes to the City of Kings. Now this is cool. Now you're noticing here a little bit of lingo that is going to probably raise a couple questions here. So first off, it says instantly move. So normally when characters move into the City of Kings, one of the major benefits for doing so is when a hero ends their a move action, they essentially gain all their health back. Now, I took a look online. I couldn't find anyone asking this question as to whether or not I gain the health back when the story tells me to move back to the City of Kings. Now, technically, I would think when it says instantly move all the heroes to the City of Kings, that is kind of like a free move action. And I assume because we're in the City of Kings, I get to restore all my health. Now, if that is not the case, what I'm going to do is, later on, if that is incorrect, I will have to do a move action out and then back into the City of Kings. But to me, thematically, that doesn't make much sense. If you're in the City of Kings already, why would you have to move out and then in to be allowed to heal again? So I think that might just be a little bit of a goof up with the words, and there's nothing wrong with the wording in the game itself, but it just leaves an open-ended question on that one. So if someone happens to know, or if someone's asked in the past, let me know. But either way, we're going to right now instantly move all heroes to the City of Kings. So Talora the Blessed is going to come to the City of Kings, as well as Calamus. Now, of course, none of our workers are going to return. They're going to stay where they are currently in the land, in the Ageless Realms. The second thing we're going to do for setup is set up the next creature stat bar beside the starting player, which is going to be Talora to my left, and place the war banner on the Tower of the North Wind tile. So that's going to be this one way up here, which was actually revealed very early on in this particular story. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and grab our next war banner. It's going to be, from what I can see here, the Blood Letters. So this is going to be the monster tile that we're going to use. We'll drop that right like this on Talora's side, as it says it's supposed to go for the first player. The new stat bar number 4, this is likely to be nasty, is going to be 7 health. Actually, that's a little less than the last one, but you'll notice 3 green abilities this time. Much better on the range side of things, and a little tougher, plus some defense. The first time I think we've seen defense where that's going to actually negate one of the attacks we make against it in terms of the numerical value of 1. So that's pretty cool. And we get 2 XP off that one. So they're going to be a little bit of a challenge. We have to also set the health bar. So as you can see here, 7. So we'll grab a red cube, drop that on the 7, and grab the war banner, which relates to that particular group. Again, this is another Kickstarter exclusive one. It's a little bit bigger. So this is going to be way over here, the Tower of the North north wind. That's where they're sitting. Far, far away from the City of Kings. So quite far off in the distance. Okay, so now that that's been set up, the next thing I'm going to do is actually that's the end essentially of the setup portion of this card. We've done the stat bar, we've done the war banner, everything's good there. So our objective is to defeat all visible creatures, and we gain two. Wow, if we're playing 2-player, we gain 1 hope and we gain a stat cube increase for our character. So that's really good. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back on the pile. That is our goal, and we're just trying to get that done as quick as possible. All right, so that's going to go ahead and resolve the story. We're going to move to the time tracker now, and again, we're going to move from midnight, where we were, to early morning. So we're now in the early morning, and we're going to go ahead with our player turns, because status effect-wise, there's nothing frost on the map, so otherwise frost would kind of dwindle down. So we're going to move right into our player turns, starting right now. So just before we jump into Talora's starting turn here in chapter number 3, I want to talk a little bit about what happens in the City of Kings, because we haven't actually journeyed back to it for some time. For most of the first 2 chapters, actually all of the first 2 chapters, we were out in the wild completing the story and progressing our characters. So this is the first time we've actually come back. So essentially, when you are in the City of Kings, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to heal. So at this particular point, Talora is going to be healed back up to 4 health, and Calamus as well will be healed back up to 4 health. So that's one of the biggest advantages to getting back to the City of Kings. The next thing that we can do while we're here, or the next thing to be aware of, is that we can never be attacked while we're inside the City of Kings. So if there was monsters that popped up around us, they couldn't target us while we're inside of the city. So that's really good. And we also cannot attack, heal, or perform special attacks or special heals while in the City of Kings. So in this particular case, the only heal that works for us is if we were moved to the City of Kings based on that move action we talked about earlier from the setup. Again, if that is incorrect and I find that that is, we weren't supposed to heal if we come back to the City of Kings through a setup portion of the card, then what I'll do is I will spend an action later on to basically account for the use of 1 action out of the City of Kings to make things even out. So let me know in the comments below if you know either way on that one. I'll also take a look myself. The other things that we can do here is fire, poison, frost. Minion tokens cannot be placed on the City of Kings tile, so that's something to know. The City of Kings tile is both a shop and a stable. You can buy equipment here and travel to other stables. We don't currently have any stables out here. We do have the ability, though, to potentially build some stuff as well in the City of Kings, which is really cool. And heroes can, of course, trade with each other while in here as well. So one of the biggest things we're going to probably want to do is be looking at our trade district and potentially going after some items to increase our stats, because when we go up against this individual far off here in the Tower of the North Wind, we are going to need to be a little bit more prepared. So with that being said, we're going to jump into Talora the Blessed turn to start us off. One last thing I want to do before we begin with Talora's turn is I want to pull the 3 abilities that are going to come with the particular monster we pulled. We do not want to forget about those. So here we go. We're going to go into the easy bag, hoping that these 3 don't end up being too nasty. So let's grab 3, and I got them. So we got Teleport. We've seen that one before. Panic. 72, and Poison Bolt. Yikes, that's quite a bit of stuff. So Teleport is going to actually have the enemy come close to us. So again, we're safe in the City of Kings, but Teleport's going to have that monster come very close to us. Panic, of course. There's a whole bunch of things that can trigger there, but we're going to have to look into Poison Bolt. I think that's the one that I'm the least familiar with at this point. We want to make sure they're all in order, so we're going to go from 33 to 54 to 72. So there is our order all panned out, so you guys can see. Okay, so let's take a quick look at what Poison Bolt is going to do, because I think that is worth checking into. So if we come down here, Poison Bolt is place 1 weak poison token on the map tile. The creature's priority token is on. Oh, that's not good. So that's something to keep note of, and again, won't activate until the monster activates. So now that I'm actually thinking about this, though, is technically at this point, with this monster set up the way it is, being set up on Talora's mat, this monster is going to trigger before Talora, because you can see here the first thing we do in a player turn for Talora would be to go ahead and resolve impairments. Well, I don't have any yet. thank goodness. But now I'm going to activate creatures, and well, I just happened to have set that creature up, so even though I really want to go ahead with Talora, we are going to be activating this monster first, which is kind of inconvenient for all of us. So let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, so things are looking good for us, actually, for this particular activation for the creature because of how far it is away. Now, the very first thing you do is try to figure out whether you have a priority target that the monster can basically pick. So in this case, we got to go down the list. There's 3 different ways that can be resolved, and we talked about them earlier on, one of which is a hero being in range of the creature. The second is a hero in range with the highest max health, and then the third is another addition of that, plus whoever goes first, or whoever's turn is coming up first next, which would technically be Talora's. But in all 3 of those cases, regardless, priority cannot be found because this individual monster currently has a range of 3, and being that range is orthogonal, so north to south, east to west, there's no way, you cannot go diagonal. You can't go 1, 2, 3, haha. It actually has to be like this or like that. So as of right now, no range can be found to any target or any hero. So no priority target is found, which means the basic attack is totally skipped. Which is awesome, or I should say just the attack is skipped. Now on top of that, the attack will also be skipped because again the range and how it works is exactly the same. So first, no basic attack of 2 and no attack all of 1. So thankfully we're far enough away. Plus the fact we're in the City of Kings means no damage would actually hit us anyway. All right, so let's go ahead and resolve the next thing that's going to happen with this creature during its activation, which is special abilities. We talked about this already. There's 3 of them here. Poison Bolt is going to be the first one. The Poison Bolt is going to place a poison token on the map tile the creature's priority token was on, but there was no priority token identified. There's no priority target identified, so that is not going to happen. Otherwise, it would poison that area, but it didn't, so we don't have to deal with it. We continue on. Teleport says the creature instantly moves to the priority target's location, ignoring the effects on the board. There is no priority target, so it will not teleport. Now, Panic is going to set in, and Panic over here says all heroes within range of the creature draw 1 position card. We've seen this before and kind of scatter based on this deck up here. Again, not going to happen because there's no heroes in range. So all 3 of the special abilities do not trigger because of the fact of the distance between us as well as the range factor. So that's awesome. So we actually can go to Talora's turn now and begin going after whatever it is we want, really. So this is where things get fun. My strategy in terms of Talora it's interesting. I've got 2 workers around here. It might be worth it to have a worker go back down to the to be able to actually do some work, getting some more ore, because as you can see here in the City of Kings, we can create certain things, and that one in the top left-hand corner for 8 ore is a trap, which would do the damage equal to our level, which currently is 5, wherever we happen to build that trap. So that's really cool and would be really thematic in terms of setting up kind of a little trap for this particular character who is 7 health. 5 damage would be quite good, actually. I just don't know if 8 ore for it is worth it or not. That's kind of the hard part. Again, currently both of our heroes are healed up, so we do have the ability to, kind of do something. I probably should move to start getting closer to this enemy, but I'm going to have to make sure that I don't get into its range. I don't want it to be able to target me or to teleport towards me, things like that. So I'm going to have to be smart about which way I go. So in other words, it would be fun to go here and get the quest, but then I'm in range. So I may have to kind of take the long way around. There's a quest here, so I could head there and do a quest there. That's not bad. I could also start looking at spending things from the old barn. We have 8 ore, we have 2 item parts. Once we get to 3 item parts, you can exchange 3 item parts in at the City of Kings in order to pull another equipment card from the deck to build into the trade district for something else to purchase. So we're just 1 shy of that, and then we only have 1 wood, which isn't that great. But 1 wood will actually give somebody the boots of Veche, and that gives us a bonus on combat, which I'm thinking is likely going to be good for Calamus, and I think Calamus will likely do that, so I'm going to have Talora not go after that one. There's really nothing else in the trade district that we want right now, and in terms of the quest hub, we should just double check here. So again, we've got that quest that says if we're at the caravans down here by the afternoon, which right now it's early morning, so we have quite a bit of time, then we'll gain those rewards on the far right, so the XP and stuff like that. Then we have running low, so that requires ore and fish, and we still are going to have to wait until Calamus' turn to start gathering some fish here. So Talora doesn't have too much to do yet, so maybe what I'll do is I'll have Talora go up and do a quest. I think might be not a bad idea. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I could do while I'm here, but I don't think there is. I really would like to build a trap. I think that'd be kind of fun. Let me think about this. So if I, we'll start with, you know what? It might not be a bad idea to do that. Now that I think about it, let's go ahead and actually have the worker go back down here and try to gather. I want to see how much ore I can get. So this would be a move action and then a work action to do that. So it's going to be 2 actions. And of course I have to get all my actions reset. I also have to remember Talora has 5 actions. So I'm probably not going to have trouble using those all up. So I used, now this particular worker that I'm moving is the one with the flat top, which is worker number 1. So let's make sure we put it in the right one. So worker 1's action, and then of course we're going to do some work. So I moved, and I'm also going to do some work. So we're going to try and gather some ore. And of course, if we're gathering, we have 4 dice to roll, which is a crazy amount, so that's really good. So we'll roll all 4 of the dice. Of course, we have the big chance or possibility we're going to pull some attention tokens with all of the dice we're rolling right now. But hopefully, instead, we'll get lots of ore. I'm actually also noticing that I've already got 3, so if I roll this, I may end up going over my max, and then at that point I'll have to come back to the City of Kings to drop it off. So then the other option could be not to do this, and to... No, this is okay. Is this? I don't know. This is a tough call. Because I can also... No, because I use 1 movement and I can't move 2. Or I could move 2, but I had to spend another action. No, I'll go ahead and we'll gather here. Let's see how we do. Okay, not bad. Again, massive overkill, but I got more than enough ore to basically fill up my my worker, so that was good. So now we're at a full max of 6. Again, you can only ever have 6, but that's great. We did get 1 attention marker, so we made a little bit of attention here at this particular mine. So we got that marked now. We'll put those dice back, and we're going to go ahead and, well, at this point, we're all full up on ore. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to probably have Talora move from where she is in the City of Kings up to Ulston's Way, I think. So let's do that. I also have this worker here. Now this worker's empty. Could potentially go ahead right now and build the trap. Let's think about that for a moment. All right, so I've got a strategy for this particular chapter that could potentially work out nicely. Now, I don't want to waste too much time around the clock for the current day trying to get this monster to come to me. The cool thing is, as we talked about earlier, this monster has an ability called Teleport, and if there is a priority target determined during its activation, which isn't right now, but later on, if we can get into its range, which is 3, so for instance, we get here, which is the end of Lost Hope, then this individual would actually, after it does its attacks and nasty stuff to that hero, would then teleport to that spot. The cool thing with that is that we can use that to our advantage to inflict a lot of damage and hopefully just kill it very quickly instead of wasting tons of actions running all the way up to catch up to it and having to deal with anything that may occur on the way. Plus the fact this thing can do like poison darts, or bolts I should say, and other nasty things. It's better to just get him towards us as fast as possible. So where the strategy comes into play is with Talora the Blessed having 3 actions left. What I want to do is I want to use the worker, which is worker number 2, as you can see here, matches the worker number 2 position, in the City of Kings. And in the City of Kings, I can use a work action for worker number 2, and I could actually spend 8 ore from the old barn, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create our very first temporary structure. And as you can see right here, this one is a trap and costs 8 ore. So we're going to go over here to the tray and grab a trap tile. This is really cool because essentially we are setting up a trap for the monster, and we can place this with a work action on a tile. So this is actually going to go on top of the worker's area to denote the fact that he cannot, or that worker cannot carry anything else. It can only be carrying that temporary structure currently. But basically I just have to use a worker or a work action to pick up a temporary structure from the tile it is currently on and place it in storage, and also to actually remove it from its temporary storage here onto a tile. So we don't have enough with 2 more actions to get our worker 1, 2, and then be able to use a work action to drop it. So the best we can do is get it, we could move all the way to here though, which wouldn't be all that bad, I guess. But what I might do instead is I'll definitely do 1 move action to get to the caravan. So that's going to cost 1 move. So we're kind of partially there. And then maybe lastly, what I'll do is I'm going to move the other worker, worker number 1, which is now has 4 ore. And I'm going to have this worker move into, let's see. Yeah, I'll have this worker move into the City of Kings. So this worker here is going to move into the City of Kings, and the second it does, we get to basically take the 6 ore that we've gathered and we can throw it in the old barn, which is perfect because that's going to be give something for our heroes to use when trying to craft things or build things. So that's awesome. So 6 goes away, and now this worker is free to go do something else, but we're now done with our actions. So that's going to complete things. And what I want you guys to know is I'm trying to set up a trap for later on in the game where I'm going to have my worker move here, use a worker action to drop a trap. Then I'm going to have Calamus come over here, and when this monster comes down to hit Calamus, I'm going to engage the trap as well as attack with Calamus. And between Calamus's 3 attack and the 5 damage that a trap would inflict based on us being on level 5, that would be, if you take into account the 1 shield that it has against those attacks, it might end up surviving just barely, but we'll have to see how that pans out. But we'll be very close to killing it off regardless, and that's my hope, is to get it kind of done and dealt with maybe before we get to late morning. We'll see how that pans out. At least that's my plan of attack. So at this point, we're done with Talora. We're going to move over to Calamus. So Calamus is going to resolve impairments, which we have done. Activate any creatures. There are none, so we just have our 4 actions to do with Calamus. Now, Calamus really wanted to get some extra attack, remember, because this might even help us take out this monster that has some defense on its stat bar, which comes in the form of that shield. So let's go ahead and maybe create or go to the trade district and actually think about spending some wood from the old barn in order to create and craft the boots of Veche. So while in the City of Kings, for 1 interact action, the Earthshaker here can go ahead and build one of the items from the trade district. So we're going to go in here. We're going to grab the boots of Veche, and this is going to require 1 log, which we're going to take from the old barn, and there we go. We've now acquired the boots of Veche. Not a bad card at all, which is going to go in the legs position, which is already unlocked for him, and it's going to give him an increase in his attack, which is fantastic, knowing that we're going to be going up against a bigger enemy here as the game goes on. So now he's at 4, and we're 1 away from unlocking the head unlock for the equipment. So soon we'll be able to actually go after something that can sit in the head slot. We can go after a body one beforehand, as that's already unlocked. So we still have 3 more actions to spend, as you can see right here. We're going to have to decide how to do that. Now, the one thing that's really cool is we probably should have our worker here try to do as much gathering of fish as possible, because as you guys can see, some of the really good equipment to build requires fish. And Calamus doesn't have that great of a role for gathering when it comes to his particular worker, but hey, something is better than nothing. So I think it's worth an effort to try this. So we're going to go ahead and have the worker work. So we're going to be rolling 1 die for a gather. So that's going to be a blue die. And we're going to be crossing our fingers that this it isn't going to bring any attention, but it's going to bring us some resources. Okay, so 1. Not exactly the greatest, but we'll take it. So that's 1 in there. Now I'm just going to think for a second as to whether I want to do another work action with that, or something maybe with Calamus himself. Now the other thing I could do that could be worthwhile is coming to the shop area here is not worthwhile. We know we have a quest that, like I mentioned before, is going to resolve positively for us if we can get a hero to the caravan by afternoon, but that's 1, 2, 3 away, so we have some time there. The other thing is there's a quest here, which would be nice to go for, but then we'd be in range and we wouldn't have our trap set yet, which is being carried by this worker. So we're not going to try to land here and stay here. We'll be in range. That's not good. So really the best thing to do is to do something in terms of what I could do for the Earthshaker. There's no point attacking and healing. I have no specials that I can engage currently. I'll just take a quick look. This says place a single -1 on a creature in range. Well, that's not going to work because I'm not in range of anything. So that's no good. My range on my character is a 2, which isn't terrible, I guess. Just trying to see if there's anything else I can do. Exploring's not really worth it. Moving, attack, heal. So maybe it is better to have my worker do another work action here and just see what else happens. So let's go ahead and do that. Worker number 1 is going to do another work action. So we're going to go ahead and hope that we get something more. We need more and more fish. Please be good. Attention token. So we obviously made too much noise there in the quiet sea, and we were spotted. So again, if 4 of these tokens show up, then a creature will show up. So not that bad. But now we've used all the work actions we can with this particular one. We only have 1 left. So what can we do for 1? We have movement. We have explore. I could have this guy move over here. Let me think about this. This is really painful. There's wood over here. Wood wouldn't be bad either. So I could do a move with my worker and head up here and try to gather some wood, maybe, and some fish, because we also know that in the future we're going to need wood as well, and we just used some wood, so maybe that's a decent idea. So maybe I'll spend 1 move on my worker to send my worker to here for the next turn, essentially. So that's going to basically end this particular round. So at this point, all of my actions have been spent, and we're going to go ahead and go back to resolving of the story, which we cannot do because we still have our creature here we need to deal with. Next up, we're going to go ahead and move the time tracker. So this time tracker is going to move to late morning. Okay, and then, of course, we have no fire elements in play right now, so nothing's going to wane down that way. Next up, we're going to go to the player turns. We'll go to Talora first. Resolve impairments. We have none. Activate creatures. We do have a creature. So this is where things get interesting. But again, same as the last turn, absolutely nothing triggers because we are still in the City of Kings with our heroes, and this guy cannot get a priority target, nor can it do anything in terms of range. So we have, we're fully safe. It's fully skipped. And we're going to set our trap during this turn right now. So now we're coming to Talora the Blessed, who's going to get all the actions back. We're going to get our trap set and bait this guy into coming after us the next turn, hopefully. So here we go. Well, first thing we're going to do is get our second worker to move to the Inn of Lost Hope. So let's go ahead and do that. So second worker, we're going to use a move. We're going to move the worker here. It's going to sit there. Then we're going to use a... And I just want to make sure, yeah, it's a work action, if I'm not mistaken, in order to do a dropping of the trap. So the trap is now going to be set on the tile. I want to face this the correct way. There you guys can see it now. So it's gigantic log swinging down. We're gonna plant this on the tile. So it's sitting there waiting for him, which is fantastic. And of course, we're going to set that there waiting for him to hit it. So that's 2 actions spent at this point. The next thing that I could do... And I'm really thinking that I'm trying to think whether I want to do anything with Talora. Talora's full health now. I also have my other worker, which is really good. I might want to get my worker moving in a direction that's going to help us. We have lots of ore, but we really are lacking in other categories. So I really want to get... It's just such a far journey to get the worker all the way over. I can get to here. But that's really not the greatest use of my resources currently. But man, would it ever be useful? Yeah, and based on my plan, I think I should be okay. I don't think I need it. I have a range of 2, but in order to attack, I need to be outside the city. Actually, you know what? Just so I don't mess anything up, let's do a move action with Talora. We'll move Talora from here to the caravan so that she's within range when this monster gets pulled down here. Because again, I cannot attack out of the City of Kings at another enemy, even if I'm in range of it. I have to be outside the city, just like the monster can't attack me when I'm in the city. So I'll put them there strategically. I've got 2 left to spend, so I might as well spend those 2 to maybe get this worker trucking over here to the fish. Would be probably a good idea. So we have 1 working on wood, 1 working on fish. It's going to cost 2 actions for the first worker. We're going to go like this, and we're going to grab this worker, and he's going to move 1 and 2. So we're going to have a bunch of workers in this tile here. Okay, next up we are going to move over to Calamus. Calamus has no impairments and no creatures to activate, and we've got 4 actions to spend. So let's reset these and go ahead with our plan here and see how this pans out. So the very first thing that I'd like to do is definitely get Calamus in the right position. So first is a move action for the Earthshaker, which is going to put him 1-2. And the reason I'm putting him here is I want to be here. I want to draw this enemy now with teleport down to Calamus when it activates next round, because now Calamus is in range of 3. So it's going to come down into the trap, which is perfect. With the other 3 actions that I have, I can go after some wood potentially here with my first worker, so I might as well try that. We'll do some work. We're going to go ahead and hope that I can get a decent roll here on the wood. Here's hoping. Okay, so 1 wood, not amazing. We can do this one more time maybe, I think, because we don't need to do any. Oh, the other thing too is Calamus is also on a quest tile. Might be worthwhile to interact with that in order to get a quest. Let's do that too. Let's make even more use of that. So let's interact with Calamus for a quest card, which, because this is the Inn of Lost Hope. So we're going to grab a quest card and see what we get. All right, so we've got the Betham's Starstone. Interesting. So it says, nope, useless. Useless. All day I spend evaluating people's jewelry, and what do they bring me? Colored glass and pirate, I guess is how you say that. But if you can find a bit of starstone colored blue and white, then we'd be in the money. The name's Betham's Jewelers, remember it. So they're basically telling us here we have to go after this and try to find it as a item part inside of this particular tower, which I can tell you right now we don't have out on the board. Probably because it's in the red area, my guess is. We haven't seen that particular one yet, so this option A is not going to be a good one for us right away. The next one is option B, and this one is locate one at the Cave of Talak. Oh, we do have that. Okay, that's not bad. That's not too far away. That's doable. Maybe I could even send Talora up that way. If need be, and to do some scavenging to hopefully find it if I get lucky. And then I gain an experience point as well as a new item in the trade district. So that's not bad. That's pretty good. So we're going to take this, we'll put this up in the quest hub area as something else that we can go after. Okay, so that's that. We still have one more action to spend. I'm going to use it to make my worker do another work action. We're going to cross our fingers. Please give me 2 or 3. That would be fantastic. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Worse. So we've drawn more attention over here. We've got more attention tokens, I think, than we've ever had so far. What are the chances of that? Oh, I guess it's 2 and 6. So it's definitely possible. So that didn't really pan out the greatest. I do have a fish and I have a log. What is that going to do for me if I get that back? I guess the battle plate of the adventure would be something that potentially we can build now. We could also go after Beggar's Boots. The other ones need more fish, and we have enough ore. So we need more fish regardless. So I might have to do one more here, and then start heading back, I guess would be my hope. And we'll see how that pans out. So at this particular point, we are now done all of our turns. So all actions have been spent. We're going to try to resolve the story, and we cannot, which is fine because we've set the trap and we're baiting this individual into it. We're going to move the time tracker to midday. So you can see here that by the end of this attack, if I can get Calamus back to the cavern here, then I can actually satisfy and hopefully complete one of these quests. That would be my hope. So that's been moved to midday. The poisons would all drop, but there's no poison in play. And we're going to go right ahead with the player turns, starting with activation of the creature, which is going to involve our trap situation. So this is the first time priority target can be found. So let's go ahead and resolve that right now. All right, so we're going to start off with the creature activation. We've got the creature, we have full range here. So range of this creature is 3, so 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be focusing its priority attack on Calamus. Yikes, okay. So the very first thing we're going to do is resolve any impairments. So creatures would suffer damage for any impairments that they have, but none is involved. There's healing that would be involved at this point if this particular creature had healing, which it does not, so we skip that as well. We begin the basic attack. So the basic attack is going to be that first attack, I should say. So that's a 2. That's a pretty nasty attack, and with a range of 3, it's going to happen right away, which is pretty nasty. So the basic attack, I don't think anything else will add to it that I know of from anything else. We're going to check these abilities. Actually, those special abilities will trigger afterwards. So for basic attack, remember, unless these special abilities have a sword on them, then they don't fall into this category. Otherwise, they do. So 2 damage is going to get thrown at Calamus right now, and I have no way to stop this currently. Let me just see here. Oh, one thing I could have done, guys, that I totally goofed on is I could have used on my turn. Now, I already used all my actions, but I could use a special action to instill fear on this creature in order to knock one of the attacks down. So I could have put a negative attack token on the creature before this creature triggered. So there's a strategy tip for you. That would have been worthwhile. Something I gotta be aware of next time, because obviously I'm gonna get hit right now, which is not good, and I'm getting hit for 2. So 2 is going to take me from 4 to 2, so I'm still alive, which is bad. But then the next thing that happens is now the attack all is going to happen, damaging every hero in range. That's Calamus again, so now he's down to 1. Still alive, though, so the plan is kind of working so far. The good thing is there's no reflect damage, so later on we won't have to deal with that when we hopefully attack back. Okay, so now we're going to resolve special abilities. This is where my plan's going to come into action, I hope. So Poison Bolt, this could be the first time Poison Bolt actually puts another effect in play. So you can see right here, this says place 1 weak poison token on the map tile. The creature's priority token is on, which would be this one right here. So we're going to find a poison token and be putting it right here. So basically, we've now got poison in this area, which is not good. Let me just make sure I did that correctly. Place a weak poison. That was a strong poison. This is weak. The smaller version is the weak one. Because basically, if this time thing hits, nasty, it's not going to hit again poison until we go to midnight. This will wither away and go away. So that's going to sit there for quite a while, actually. So that's kind of unfortunate for us, timing-wise. It says, yeah, so place 1 weak poison token on the map tile. The creature's priority token is on. Cool. That is done, although it's not good. The next thing that's going to happen is teleport, which we know is the creature instantly moves to the priority target's location, ignoring any other effects on the board. So, bam, this guy shows up here. Okay, and then the next thing is Panic, which is 72. So all heroes within range of the creature draw 1 position card each and move to the marked spot. Now this is where things get really interesting, because depending on the timing of things, the way that the temporary structures work, we have a trap there. Now normally you'd think a trap would need to be activated for it to go, but basically once a temporary structure is on a tile, it can be activated by any player at any time, as it does not cost an action once activated. Remove the token from the board, and you're going to be going ahead and dealing instantly that damage equal to your current level against the creature. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and say I want to have this particular trap activate. I could have done that the second it moved from teleport, which is essentially what I'm doing. And it's being hit for 5 damage because that's my current level. So the trap obviously goes back and is now discarded, but I do a massive amount of damage, bringing from 7 down to 2. That's really, really good. So that automatically happens. Now we'll go ahead and deal with the Panic special ability that this creature has, which says all heroes within range of the creature draw 1 position card. This is going to mess with both heroes because we're both within 3. And again, east to west and north to south. So nasty. Okay, so here we go. We're going to be grabbing our position tiles. Let's grab the first one for Calamus because he's in there with that particular monster. So the first position is going to have him just step 1 to the left. So that's not bad. Actually, you know what? That's perfect. That puts him in the caravan shop, which is where he wants to be by the afternoon next turn. So hey, that's not bad at all. Actually, probably helped me out. So that's a perfect one for him. And the second one we're going to grab for Talor the Blessed. This one's saying go south and then right to the east. We can't do that, so we ignore that one. We also can't go to the 2 because it's off the map. But the 3, oh, we can't even do that one either. So 4, oh no. 1, 2, 3, oh geez, this is going to send Talora flying. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. So Talora got really scared by that particular monster, and it sent her all the way into dangerous area, very, very, very far away from everything. Good thing she's not hurting. So yeah, there we go. And now we've resolved that particular turn for the monster. That was quite interesting. The good news is that Calamus is still within range to deal damage, which is what we really wanted. And the coolest thing about it is that the poison token is sitting on where the monster is now. So there's that as well. That's pretty cool. So let's go ahead now, though, and start our turn with Talora the Blessed. So we're going to go ahead and reset all of our actions and get ready to take Talora's turn and see if we can take down this creature by the end of this current round. So this is a really good time to talk about the poison token that's sitting on this tile but shouldn't be. Now earlier on I was resolving the monster's special abilities, and those special abilities were right here. The first one was Poison Bolt. We did that correctly because the monster was back here. Calamus at the time was here. The Poison Bolt shot 1, 2, 3 range from this creature all the way, landed on this tile. This is where this weak poison should have landed. So it landed here, but if there's a hero on that tile, that hero then assumes that poison. So Calamus was hit for weak poison, so it goes from the tile removed to his character sheet. If both of my heroes happen to be here when that bolt came, then both of the characters would actually be inflicted with the poison. As it states in the rules, if more than one hero or creature comes into contact with poison at the same time, then all affected heroes, creatures take a poison token and place it on their character sheet. So right now, that poison token would have hit Calamus. Then we went through the motions. We went to teleport. Teleport brought this creature down here. Then this creature then introduced panic, which sent Talora way over here, and Calamus ran over to here. And then now we've got everything situated where it should be. Nothing really changed except for the fact that this is now sitting on our Earthshaker's character sheet, which is really bad because weak poison at the beginning of your turn when you go to resolve impairments, which we're not there yet, but we're getting there. This weak poison will inflict 1 damage, which is enough to remove or knock out Calamus. So that's not good. We need to heal him so he can handle this, or get him, actually we can't get him back before this triggers anyway, but we're going to need to get back to heal to the City of Kings because we can heal poison there. But I'm going to need to get Talora on this turn, which is Talora's turn right now, to come over here and be in range to heal our Earthshaker so he can survive when his turn starts next up. So it's a little bit of a chess kind of game. That's the vibe I get when I'm playing this. There's a lot of position, a lot of thinking ahead in terms of how you're going to survive, knowing what kind of damage you're going to take. We know now we're going to take 1 damage and we can't do anything about it. We can eventually get skills that will help us get rid of poison, but currently the only way to do that is through skills that you happen to have line up that way, or going to the City of Kings. So right now we're going to start with Talora the Blessed. So we first off need Talora to help our Earthshaker from dying. We don't want him to be removed yet. So we're going to actually go ahead and have Talora move. So the first movement, we're going to have her move back here to the Cave of Talok, which is perfect. Actually, that's where one of the... that's actually perfect because we actually had to go there anyway, I think, for this particular quest. So that works out flawlessly. So while she is here, she's now in range of Calamus, and she is going to use an action to heal Calamus so that he can take that poison damage and still survive. Now she's got 3 left, so now we have to be smart. Now the other thing that's interesting to note is the monster's still alive. So because the monster is still alive, the downside with that situation is, and we had to do this. We didn't have to, but I really wanted to keep Calamus alive. I could have chosen to stop here and maybe make an attack at the monster, get rid of it. But what's happening is this monster is essentially pinning our workers down. They can't be used for anything right now. They're kind of trapped, essentially, by this monster. So they're basically useless. So then we come back to Talora, who's at the Cave of Talok, and we're thinking, let's go ahead maybe with this quest and see if we can do something productive. All right, so I want to apologize first off for saying that Talora could actually have done anything with this particular quest because we need to do a work action, and we well know that Talora can't do any work actions. Only the workers can, and the workers are trapped by all the monsters keeping them busy. So we can't do this quest until we get a worker over to that particular spot, so that's not going to work out for us. This is really nasty, actually, guys. Now that I'm seeing this, I'm realizing how much this monster has caused problems for me. I needed to heal Calamus, and the issue that kind of comes out of this, essentially, is that if I had tried to have Talora stop here and just make multiple attacks, like 2 attacks straight at this monster, Talora only attacks with a single hit for damage, which is nothing. and it's negated by the shield of the monster. So this is another reason why I couldn't have actually stopped here and killed the monster this turn and then not healed Calamus. So there's quite a bit of strategy involved in everything in terms of the thought process of how you're going to actually go about things. And right now I'm stuck. I can't use any of my workers because they're all trapped by the monsters, even though I kind of set that up myself because I was bringing the monster towards me. It's good and bad. So you can see how that kind of turned on me. It looked like a good idea at the time, but now I've trapped all my workers there, which is bad. And now I have 3 actions that I can't use because I've moved with Talora. I've attacked and healed once. I could attack and heal again. I could heal Calamus just for fun, I guess, essentially to bring up to 3. That's about all I could do. And then these last 2 actions are really wasted because the special doesn't happen over here. I have a passive ability that reduces damage by 1, so that's great, but I don't need to use a special to get that. Interact is useless in the caves because it's a scavenging location for workers, and exploring is useless as well because I'm not exploring anything. So I actually have to give up my 2 actions, and that's essentially it. So we're going to come back over here to Calamus, who's going to go now, and first off we'll resolve the very first impairment we've ever had, which is a poison marker. So this poison marker is going to trigger, and it's going to drop him down to 2. That's nasty. We want to get that off of him, so we're going to go ahead and get his 4 actions ready. And I'm going to hope here that I can do something productive. So the first thing is going to be, I got to think of this. If I move, oh, geez. Okay, so I'm gonna attack first. That's the first thing I'm going to do. So I'm going to do an attack, obviously. So the first attack here is going to do 4 damage, which is a ton. And I also get a luck die with this character, which is great. So let's roll the luck die and see if we can inflict a lot more. 50% on top of that, so that's 6 damage. That's way more than enough. For the regular attack, its negate 1 is knocked off because of the shield, but 5 gets through. So that is a kill. So this particular monster has been removed. It's going to be tossed. We are going to gain all the experience off this guy, so that's awesome. There's no reflex, so nothing's going to come back and hit him. So that's great. We got to get these green abilities back into the bag, gain our XP, and possibly level up. Or I should say we're going to level up, I think. I hope. So we'll take the template here. We'll toss that aside. We're going to grab this stat bar, take a quick look. It's 2 XP. So now we're going to come over here and bump ourselves up 2 XP. And hey guys, we're going to level 6. And we get a cube as well as a disc. That's awesome. So let's think about this one. This could be really interesting in terms of what we want to do here. So I'm going to just jump back, take a look at my characters, and come right back with some ideas as to what to increase. Alright, so I decided what I wanted to do here. I'm going to be using a skill disc, of course, unlocked, to go ahead and drop it right here. This is going to boost up my health, so I'm going to be jumping up on the max health to 5 now, which is fantastic. So I get a little bit more healthier for my character. So that's kind of an automatic stat cube bump when you get those ones with an icon. You just go ahead and push those up. This is the other thing that's really cool about this is when I get the next one, I'm going to be jumping into the second tier area, and once I do that, I can pick a card from up here in order to fill that in and go after particular stats that I'm interested in, depending on how I want to evolve my character. Second off, I get a cube, as you can see, because it was not only a stat increase as well as a skill increase. So I'm going to get myself a cube increase. And what I was thinking of doing was actually pumping up. Now, heals are a really important one, and I really want to, get that up there as well. But I think for now, I'm going to push up movement on my workers because I've made my workers for Talora really, really useful, but they're not moving fast enough. And I want them to be able to shift between locations quickly to get ore and stuff back here so we can start building up our items in our hands. So I'm going to jump them up to 2 and hope that that's a decent bump up. So that's everything for Talora the Blessed. Now we're going to come over here to Calamus. We're going to do a very similar thing on him. I want, again, to get the extra health. I want him to be able to have a max health of 5, so that's awesome. And, the other thing, too, that's brutal is if I go ahead and do this, then I can get the headgear put on as well, so that's tough. But the next one's going to be quite a few experience away. That's hard. I don't know if it's having the more. I think I need more health because at the end of the day, the monsters are getting tougher. I think it just makes sense to have the health. I'm getting too close to being knocked out here. And then the other thing I'm going to do is so the health came from this, and now I get a stat cube increase. It's really interesting for him. I haven't really been bumping up his workers at all. I haven't unlocked his second worker yet, which would give me an extra action. So there's that too. Scavenge could be good. That could be really useful. Maybe I should bump up my scavenge on him. Luck I've already got. Movement and range, second. I'm okay with those so far. My movement being 2 isn't bad. Let's go ahead and bump. Let's bump up. Yeah, let's do the scavenge. Oh, the heal though. You know what? Let's bump up the heal. We need someone who can heal a little bit better than the norm. Now, the downside with doing that is I'm putting up that stat on a character that typically uses their heal for attacking. So that's not the best. But you know what? There's times where I think it's going to be necessary to be able to heal. And being that Calamus will be the one that's likely in the field fighting, I think it makes sense to be able to have that option, whereas Talora is trying to avoid conflict half the time, currently anyway. So, but I do really want to get this other worker unlocked at some point. It's just going to take a lot to get there. That's the only downside. So, I don't know. That's a real tough one. So I think what I'm going to do is stick with that for now. Hope that works out good. Okay, so that's that. We've now done, we kill off the creature. There's no more creatures here in the land, which is perfect. We've technically satisfied the objective, which is defeat all visible creatures, but we need to wait to the end. Hey, we'll actually get ourselves another stat cube, so maybe at that point I can jump up my scavenge as well. But anyway, so we're going to move on here. We're going to start with, that was... where were we on that one? That was the first action of Calamus was to kill. I had 3 more actions remaining. We have the poison on him. Don't want that. So I'm going to use a move action to head Calamus back to the City of Kings. We're now going to get rid of the poison token, thankfully. His health is going to go all the way up to 5, which is fantastic. Goes right up to the max amount. Of course, I have to spend the action to do this. So that leaves me with 2 actions remaining. Now, I've also got this worker out here doing his thing, and I need to gather more wood. I'd like to gather more wood and more fish, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do another gather action, seeing as technically I've completed chapter 3 essentially, so I might as well go ahead and try. So I'm going to have my worker here do a work action. We're going to grab a blue die. We're going to cross our fingers that I don't see an attention token. Good, we got 2, so that's 2 pieces of wood. That's much better. So we're almost full with this worker now. So now we've got probably more than enough wood, because I think we have 3 wood, 1 fish. That can build, yeah, that's pretty much, I could build all 3 of those items up there. So I'm done with the wood. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a move action and start heading this worker back towards the City of Kings. But first I'll move him to this particular spot here in order to grab some fish. I'm hoping I can get 2 more fish and then head back to the City of Kings would be my hope. So that's that. That is the end of the turn. All actions have been used. What we're going to do next is we're going to wrap around to... Well, actually, you know what? This is it. We know we've satisfied this particular chapter 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the video right here. When we start up the next one, we're going to jump into resolving the story. We'll read that. We'll gain our extra hope. We'll gain our stat cube increase. And we'll read into chapter number 4. So I hope you guys are enjoying what you're seeing so far. Hopefully this is useful for you guys to help learn the game and also think about some of the strategies and things like that that come along with it. It is really cool, and I'm really enjoying how this game is opening up over time. So the other thing I just thought about now, off the top of my head, that I just realized that I don't want to mess up on because I'd miss out on this, is I really want to be here at the end of my turn. Because when this arrow wraps to afternoon, one of those quests is going to resolve, and if I happen to be in the right spot, which is this one, I get 2 XP and 3 more cards in the trade district. Now, what do I want to do that? So if I don't go there, what changes, or what would have changed? I guess I could have stayed there. If I had chose to stay there, I would have had my move action to still use. I wouldn't have been fully healed. I would have been down to 1 health left because I had my poison on me at the time. I would still technically have my poison on me. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to actually use my other action here to heal because I bumped my heal up. My heal's 2, and I'm going to jump myself up to 3. One other thing I quickly forgot about when I did my heal, guys, which I want to just interrupt the video and talk about this right now, is I didn't roll my luck die. So when I healed up and got up to 3, I didn't roll a luck die, which I have unlocked for this character. So let's roll it and see if I get something good. 50%. So I healed 2, 50% is an extra 1, so I'm at 4. Not bad. Don't want to forget about stuff like that. So that's pretty much the end of this little tiny edit. At the same time, when we go into the next video, I'm going to be able to resolve the Goblin's Ear Delivery quest, which I totally would have missed out on if I hadn't remembered that. So you can see there's a lot to remember, but hey, you want to make sure every move gets you the maximum amount every single time. So we'll be able to gain even more stuff going into the next video. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Like I said, if you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next episode of the City of Kings. Keep on rolling solo.